Hi everybody, Ryan Ballengee with Golf News Net here, and if you watched some of our recent reviews, particularly my review of the Mizuno MP18 MMC irons, you knew a second review was coming. And we've had these irons in our bag for different portions of the year, switching off with another set, and that other set we mentioned was the Wilson C300 Forged irons. And so that's what this is a review of. We're going to do a review of the C300 Forged irons. So a little background on these first, and a little background on me, of course. Last year I played with Wilson's FG Tour V6 irons, and I was absolutely blown away by how good they were. I fully did not expect to play them all year. I just didn't. I mean, I figured I would hit them and they would be nice enough, and then I would do a nice review about them, and then I wouldn't know if they would win their place in my bag. I was playing MP25s last year, and they won a place in the bag over them. I benched Mizuno irons for Wilson irons last year. And when Wilson came to me, unfortunately, the snowy part of the year, the crappy part of the year here in the region, and said, hey, you know, we've got these new irons, these C300 irons. Would you be willing to give them a try? And I was like, well, I don't know. They're game improvement. They had the power holes right. I don't know if that's going to work for me. I mean, I've used the power hole irons before, you know, the first generation of these, the C200 or the C200s of these. I was like, you know, let's give them a try. Let's see what happens. And I asked them to kind of give me an explanation of the differences between the irons, and they said, well, these are forged, so they're a little bit different than the C300, so they're not as much of a distance-oriented machine. They are, but they're not quite the same. And the power holes that you expect to see on the C200 or 300, they're a little bit different on the C300 Forged. So it's like, sure, send them, let's give them a try. And they're great. They're fantastic. They're just like the FG Tour V6s with the caveat that they go longer. And they go longer in part because of this power hole technology. So, I mean, we've seen the move toward player's distance iron as a category of irons in recent years. And more often than not, that means a hollow body construction iron with some foam or some kind of urethane or polymer material on the inside that allows the face to flex a little bit more, that improves the acoustics so it doesn't sound like you're hitting a bunch of woods every time you want to hit an iron, and it allows for better ball speeds because it allows the face to flex a little bit more and better energy transfer. Well, this fits in that category, man. This is a player's distance iron. This goes longer than the FG Tour V6s by about 5 to 6 yards per club, particularly on the longer irons. I have nuked a few 5 and 4 irons in playing with these. I actually nuked this 8 iron a few times too, unexpectedly. But what they did here was they basically created a 3-piece iron. So they have a forged body here, forged steel body. It's great, feels good, works well. Got a nice face insert here, again, put onto the body. And you've got this badging back here, which if you just took this off, you would just see the face. There's no hollow body construction to it. It's just badging. It's important badging, but it's not. There's not a ton of foam or something in here in the middle. I mean, that wasn't the approach Wilson took with these. And so they still drilled power holes in here. I mean, the kind of upgrade from the prior generation of power holes to this one was more power holes, right? It was like, all right, more flex face, which is what it's called, FLX Face. More of that. And they realized, hey, if we're going to make this for a better player, if we're going to attract a better player into this iron as opposed to the FG Tour V6s, we're going to need to do something to appease them. And so what they did was they didn't have power holes on the sight line, on the top line, because they knew that was distracting to better players, and some of them complained when they've used it, kind of me among them, although I kind of forgot about it pretty quickly, that it could be distracting. Now, for me, when I used the C200s, I was like, it's really not a big deal. I mean, it's a head, you look at it, and you swing it, and the only time you're ever looking at it is when you're about to take it away. The rest of the time, it's a blur, or you don't see it at all. So if you're that particular, that's your problem. But it was a nice touch to be able to kind of take that out of it, make the top line a little bit thinner, closer to the FG Tour V6. It's still a little bit thicker. I mean, it's still a little bit thicker, but not dramatically. The offset is not quite as much, so, you know, it's still a little offset, but you can, if you're a better player, you can open the face up a little bit and you're fine with it. Maybe it feels like it may be a degree more offset, but not dramatically more. Like, again, the thing I really liked about the FG Tour V6s was the depth of face. it just felt like it had a deep face on it. It was kind of confidence inspiring. Weird at first, but confidence inspiring. And that returns here. So that returns on all of these. So you get the 2 rows of power holes on every iron, from the 3 iron, which they don't really sell too many of, really 4 iron down to the 8 iron. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 have the power holes. 9 pitching wedge and a gap wedge, which are available with this set. They do not. So they look more traditional. They are what they are. You don't need distance with those clubs. You need accuracy with those clubs. 8 iron, debatable. Maybe you need to step on one every now and then. And so that's what you do with it. These are KBS Tour 105 shafts. And I don't typically fit into KBS shafts. And these are a change, actually, from the FG Tour V6s, where they went with the dynamic gold AMTs, which I thought were really cool. I've never played them before. These are perfectly capable shafts. I mean, there's nothing wrong with them. They work out great. They're very stable. These are in a stiff. They work out just fine. I love these grips. Lambkin style. I just love the pattern more than anything else. The feel's fine, but I love the style of them. And overall, I've probably played 10 rounds with these, including winning the Greensburg Cup this year for the 3rd time, which is this trophy right here. 3rd time in 9 years. So that's championship success for Wilson. But I enjoy playing with these primarily because I had 2 things. 1, really long irons. So I felt more confidence going for par 5s and 2 because I had an extra 5 yards to step on. And that felt really good. And then I also really liked having a gap wedge. And I know it sounds weird, but I like having a gap wedge. I got rid of my 60-degree wedge this year. I just don't use it that much. And when I do, I kind of have to stick it in the turf to be able to do it, and that kind of defeats the purpose. And I can hit lob shots with a wide-open 56-degree wedge, so why bother? So I went to the gap wedge, and it has filled in perfectly a range where I kind of stink, which is about 100 to 105 yards. And so when I use the Wilsons, I feel like when I get to 100 yards, like, I got a club. I got what I want. Versus when I've used the Mizunos, I have this kind of gap from 93 to 105 yards. Where I'm like, I don't know what I'm going to hit. Am I going to hit a pitching wedge? That might be too much. Am I going to step on a 52? I'm not that great of a wedge player to be able to do that. I hit my wedges too high. So having that gap wedge is huge for being able to do that. These are extremely comfortable over the ball. Obviously, they feel a lot like the FG Tour V6s because Wilson made them. I love the badging look. It doesn't look busy. You obviously never see the power holes if you're standing over it. And when you show someone this club, I mean, they're going to notice the power holes. I mean, they are all over the thing. But they're going to notice classic badging that doesn't disrespect your ability as a golfer. And I like that. I like that it has a classic look. It feels forged. It looks forged. And it's packed with technology. These are really good irons. They're high-quality irons. They're a $900 set. From that 4 to pitching wedge, you can throw in the gap wedge. You have to add $100 to it. You get a $1,000 set. They're really good. They're built to last. High-quality material. These are not going to go out of favor or out of style. And again, you can feel like you're getting into the player's distance iron category and not feel like you're swinging a bunch of hollow, hybrid-like materials. And that's totally your choice. It's totally your decision as a golfer, whether or not you want to feel like you're swinging a more traditional iron or you're swinging something that's looks like a traditional iron, but it's just, you know, it's loaded with technology to help it go far. Your choice entirely. But what I would say is, over the last few years, I have come to not exclude Wilson from anything. They make extremely good products. Their irons and wedges are particularly fantastic, and they've won a place in my bag each of the last few years, and I expect them to continue to do so because they're doing good work out there in Chicago. So the next time you see a Wilson fitting tent or a dealer doing a fitting day or a rep coming in to do a Wilson day, give them a try. Put them on a launch monitor like I did. Compare them, play them if they'll let you. If you belong to a club and they let you play these guys, do it. You're going to be surprised. I really think you will. You're going to like the way that they feel in your hands, and you're going to like the way that they perform. And in the long run, that may actually save you a little bit of money compared to other irons in this category. And you may still get the same set of benefits with something that feels a little bit more familiar to the kind of iron that maybe you've played most of your life. So give these guys a try. Check them out. Let me know what you think. If you give them a try yourself, hit me up on social media at Ryan Ballengee, and we will see you next time.